Today's topic is trusting one's abilities or talents, thereby putting them to use for the good of all. Here is some wisdom on this topic from Mary Baker Eddy, who discovered and founded Christian Science. The first quotation is from her book, Miscellany. To do good to all because we love all, and to use in God's service the one talent that we all have, is our only means of adding to that talent, and the best way to silence a deep discontent with our shortcomings. And here's the other quote. Science reveals the possibility of achieving all good, and sets mortals at work to discover what God has already done. But distrust of one's ability to gain the goodness desired and to bring out better and higher results often hampers the trial of one's wings and ensures failure at the outset. From Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures. Where does one's ability to gain goodness come from? It must be ours by our direct relation to God, Spirit, as our Father and the source of all good. However, if we think that dust has fathered us, we must first wake up to our source in spirit. As Christ Jesus instructed, call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. From Matthew 23. And there's a parable of Jesus that shows how important it is to trust and use the goodness of our talents. This is from the Moffat translation, from Matthew chapter 25. Then shall the realm of heaven be compared to a man going abroad, who summoned his servants and handed over his property to them. To one he gave 1,200 pounds, to another 500, to another 250, each got according to his capacity. Then the man went abroad. The servant who had got the 1,200 pounds went at once and traded with them, making another 1,200. Similarly, the servant who got the 500 pounds made another 500. But the servant who had got the 250 pounds went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Long afterwards, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. Then the servant who had got the 1,200 pounds came forward, bringing 1,200 more. He said, You handed me 1,200 pounds, sir? Here, I have gained another 1,200. His master said to him, Capital, you excellent and trusty servant. You have been trusty in charge of a small sum. I will put you in charge of a large sum. Come and share your master's feast. Then the servant with 500 pounds came forward. He said, You handed me 500 pounds, sir. Here, I have gained another 500. His master said to him, Capital, you excellent and trusty servant. You have been trusty in charge of a small sum. I will put you in charge of a large sum. Come and share your master's feast. Then the servant who had got the 250 pounds came forward. He said, I knew you were a hard man, sir, reaping where you never sowed, and gathering where you never winnowed. So I was afraid. I went and hid your 250 pounds in the earth. Here's your money. His master said to him in reply, You rascal, you idle servant. You knew, did you, that I reap where I never sowed and gather where I never winnowed? Well, then, you should have handed my money to the bankers, and I would have got my capital with interest when I came back. Take, therefore, the 250 pounds away from him. Give it to the servant who had the 1,200. For to everyone who has shall be given and richly given, but from him who has nothing, even what he has shall be taken. Afraid ensures failure at the outset. If we think keeping our talents and our worth in material things, burying them in the earth, will preserve them, we are thinking incorrectly. Any talent we have is expressed by our spiritual reflection of God's nature, which is divine love. life, truth, soul, mind, spirit, and principle. Every day we get reminders to use our talents when we look for them or listen for them. The other day I saw a billboard sign that said, "Best if used." There was a picture of a milk carton on it with no date. It referred to using food rather than wasting it. It reminded me to see that my talents also are best if used. We all have talents that are best if used. Classify any drag we feel on expressing those talents as coming from what Jesus called the liar, and do not listen to them. In the Bible, 1 Peter chapter 5, also from Moffat translation, we get excellent counsel on recognizing and defeating this drag, defeating lies. Keep cool. Keep awake. Your enemy, the devil, prowls like a roaring lion, looking out for someone to devour. Resist him. Keep your foothold in the faith. We must treat our talents as it were a piece of prime real estate to be developed. Investing our reflected energy from spirit into developing our talents. They will multiply.